Hey there. This is a review for our DCC Lankhmar adventures. This was session number 4. We picked up where we left off. We were leaving the Plaza of Dark Delights. We ran into Shelba, who wanted one of the grand mass of this temple that we are learning about. That happened in the last session, and we agreed to that. There was some contracts drawn up, some modified contracts, because of Foster. He wasn't ready to sign on to be a lifelong servant. So we head off to the temple, and the temple of Jill, which is on Craft Street. And we get there, and we pretty much learn that it's become a shanty town. And I have in my notes a shanty town for the unwashed masses. It's basically a slum. But we go in, and we're kind of just poking around. We don't really know what we're looking for. We have the key, which is in fact an actual key, although it did have a hidden note in it, but it is a functional key that we believe. We are met by a local gang that operates within the temple called the Spider Kings, and they were trying to basically shake us down for money to allow us to be in the temple. We bandied words with them for a little bit, and then I tried to sneak attack one of them by just like throwing a dagger at him. Dice, per the usual, not on my side, so I missed with my attack. We rolled initiative. And this was the start of a repeat thing that happened throughout this session. Rourke, our wizard, ended up going down. And that happened a lot in this session. But we end up beating them, and Foster actually pulled off a mighty deed and took down their leader, which was really good. They had one guy that we believe was a caster, but before Rourke went down, he lit him up with, I think it was Magic Missile. And DCC, you can get different effects. And his were pretty good. Like, they basically Swiss cheesed him and dropped him immediately. So it went pretty quick, although, again, it was a bad combat for Rourke. So we got some treasure out of that. We picked up some coins, some Smurducks, some Rilks, and that one guy did have a spell book, so Rourke was able to actually get access to I think a couple spells he doesn't normally have. Spray of spiders, and above board we were told that that's what he was going to cast had he gotten his turn, but we stopped him from doing that. So continue looking around. There's this big, very large pillar with this bas relief on it depicting a goblet, a mask, and a chain, and a horned crescent moon. So we start poking around that some more, and Foster finds a secret door in the pillar. So we crack that bad boy open, and in we go. It's a chamber with stairs that lead up to another room. In the other room, there was masks and robes hanging on the wall. We collect some of those. And oh yeah, two of the robes animate and attack us. So we end up dealing with that. Rourke goes down again. But we defeated those pretty quickly after that. We end up collecting about 12 masks, and we move into the next room. And the next room is full of like dust and exotic spices. There's 8 stone blocks with like wrapped corpses on them. And I start examining these bodies, and it stirs up the dust. And I had to make a saving throw, I believe. And yeah, I did. And actually, Rourke did too. And we didn't take any damage, but we were handed these notes that had these effects on them. And I didn't know what his was, but my effect was, because I failed my saving throw, of course. Love the dice. I was exceptionally greedy to the point of violence where I thought I deserved the best treasure. So each one of these, well, this corpse in particular has a necklace on it. and I snatched that up immediately. And then we go around, search the rest, and they all had necklaces. So we end up collecting them all. Um, we then put on the mask. Now, Foster had already put on the mask before this, so I think that's what saved him from the dust and having to make a saving throw, because he was the only one that wasn't affected. Yeah, there was another door. Yeah, second door, and this looks like it'll take the key. I search all the doors we come across for traps. I don't find any, to include this one. We use the key, and I think we got asked which way I turn it. So, I got a 50-50 chance. Of course, I picked the wrong way. And acid, the door had all these masks on it, like etched into it. And from the eyes, acid shoots out of the mask. So I roll a saving throw. I end up avoiding taking damage from that. I think I didn't get too badly hurt. We go into the next room, and there's 7 glittering masks, and there's a stuff like floating around the room. We weren't sure what it was. It was like web, but not webs. It was weird, and it was just floating around. But we're there. We see the mask, so we start to try to collect the mask. Foster gets charmed by one of the masks. So I'm at the entrance of the door. I didn't go actually all the way in. I'm just at the door. Those two went in. And I can't remember what Rourke's thing was, but it made him like boldly go in the room. Like he was the first one in the door, which was kind of neat because he was playing his condition that he got from failing his previous saving throw. We didn't know what it was, but we were both like, everybody was like, that's kind of odd. Like, why would he go? Why would he just rush right in there like he's the magic user? But he did. Not, and it was neat that he was playing it out. And they, in turn, later when we talked about it, they thought it was weird that my character snatched up the first gem necklace without even like, and kind of hit it, and basically was like, it's mine. I'm claiming it or whatever. And they thought that was weird, but it was just playing up the conditions, which was fun. But Foster gets charmed by one of these masks, and he attacks Rourke, which, we're first level, and Rourke is not tough. So while we're trying to deal with that, we're hitting the mask, and some of them are breaking, and I'm using a sling, and Foster was doing that until he got charmed. Well, then 3 cloaked figures come up from behind me from the shadows, and I'm not sure if they were a member of the Thieves Guild or just people looking. They might have been members of the Thieves Guild. I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody will chime in the comments that played and straighten that out. But so this turns the battle very dangerous. Like we already have Foster attacking Rourke, and Rourke's going to go down again. We have the mass, which is doing things, and now we have 3 assassins behind me. At one point, I roll a fumble, end up down on prone, which oddly made me harder to hit. Like I avoided a bunch of attacks down there, but we're calling there's a thing in DCC and in Lankhmar where you have patrons and you can call for patron aid, and we're doing that. And you basically roll a D20 and a D10 in the for your attack or whatever you're doing for your D20, and then the D10 is your patron die, and the patron die needs to be less than the D20, which you think the odds would be in your favor, not our odds. I think we pulled it off a couple times, but like we tried it a lot because we were very desperate, and more often than not, we completely failed. So the dice were just not kind to us at all. We end up killing a couple of. I think we killed a couple of the assassins, and runs away. And one of the masks, the last remaining mask, like flies out. That's what it was. The mask flies out, and the assassins chase after it. And they got like large sacks and stuff. They're better prepared than we are. And he chases it out into the back end of the shanty. We're dealing with what we're dealing with here. And two of the assassins run away. And it seems like the sacks are actually coated with some sort of agent. Like we were told there was a sleep agent, so I don't know. But that one remaining mask makes it out into the crowd, and then the tenant. And when, by the time we get out there, because we took some time collecting some stuff, um, it's chaos out there. That mask is just like spraying its rays around it, hitting everybody, and everybody's like fighting each other. Or it's just pandemonium. So we're like, we're kind of probably got to break, and it's making its way towards the exit. So like, if this gets into the city at large, this could be a real problem. So we try to bring it down, um, and eventually we do. Foster makes this Hail Mary throw with his axe and hand axe and hits it and breaks. He threw a couple at it actually. He was down to like his favorite weapon or whatever, and he chucked that too. Meanwhile, my character gets accosted by just a crowd of like enchanted, enraged people because of the mask, and they just start pummeling the hell out of my character. And I don't go down, but I'm knocked down, and these people are on top of me. Foster had been brought back up by then. I'm sorry, not Foster. Rourke had been brought back up. He casts a spell. I don't remember the name. I don't remember what the name of the spell is. Flaming something. But his hands basically melt away, and this fire comes out, and he just like infernos the. I'm laying on the ground, so it's all above me. This flame shoots above me and just infernos the crowd that's beating the crap out of me. We and I pretty much had it with this place at this point. So I go over when I get up and I kick over some guy's shanty, and then we're like, we need to get out of here. Like, this is a mess. And even with the last mask destroyed, the effect hasn't worn off for these people. So we exit. There's a side exit, and we take that and get out of there. And we end up Shelba arrives. I think we go back to our apartment, and Shelba arrives to collect. And there's some disagreement about that, giving him anything. We broke the main mask that he was looking for. He was very upset about that. And we had 3 whole masks, and he wanted one of them, and him and Foster got into a pretty good argument about it, because we were just going to give him like the scraps, because we collected all that stuff too. But he didn't want that. Like, that was useless to him. He needed a complete mask. So him and Foster got in a pretty good disagreement about it. But eventually we did give him a mask, and he went on his way. And that was the end of the session. That was the end of that adventure as well. I don't recall the name of that adventure. Probably actually find it in this book, 'cause I think it's in this book. I'll look in this. I tend not to look in this book much because Chris is running the adventures from it, so I bought it just to have in my collection. Yeah, right here, The Robbing of Ygritte. I think that's what it's called, or Masks of Lankhmar, it's called. So Ygritte was the guy whose house we broke into in the beginning. So we were able to finish that. It took us, around 4 sessions or so, maybe 3 actually, because the first one was the funnel. And we're going to do another one. I think it's Chris said it was a shorter one, which the length doesn't bother me, but it'll probably be a couple more sessions. So we're going to do that, and then we'll see what happens next. I don't know if we'll run another one after that, or we'll switch up like we do, and somebody will run something else, or what'll happen. But it was a lot of fun. I was amazed that we lived through. I think we were all amazed we lived through it. It looked really, really grim, so I figured we were going to be rolling up some new characters, which would have been a bummer, but hey, it happens, especially at this stage in the game. We did get some XP out of it, not enough to level up, and some treasure, so we're doing a little bit better off. I don't know what. Well, there's probably actually, if we really thought about it, because there's ways of healing in Lankhmar. There's no cleric class, so there's ways to heal. So we need to probably get some of that stuff. There's different things you can buy, I guess. We need to get some of that stuff because it's just brutal. But it was a lot of fun, having a blast, exploring Lankhmar. I really want to do more of that. And DCC so far has been pretty fun. I've enjoyed it. So looking forward to whatever comes next. That's that's a review for this session. Appreciate all your comments, and I will catch you at the next one.